In 1670, the British settled Charlestown, or Charleston, South Carolina. The area now known as Horry County was part of Old Craven County, established in 1682. In 1730, Robert Johnson, Royal Governor of South Carolina, included Kingston Township in a plan to encourage development of the province of South Carolina. By 1732, the site of the town of Kingston, or Conway, was marked out. In 1734, a plan for the town was completed, and by 1735, the first settlers had begun to arrive. Many area residents fought in the American Revolutionary War. Small engagements were fought near Kingston, at Bear Bluff on the Waccamaw, at Black Lake along the Little Pee and in the Socastee area. General Francis Marion, who is known as the Swamp Fox, had relatives living in the area. He and his troops encamped in the village at Kingston on his way to the Battle of Black Mingo. Kingston was located in the parish of Prince George, Wynyard, established in 1722. In 1769, the colony was divided into circuit court districts, and the land comprising what is now Horry County became part of the newly created Georgetown Judicial District. In 1785, new lines were drawn, and Kingston County was created out of the old district. The new county's name was changed to Horry District in honor of General Peter Horry in 1801, and a courthouse was established in Kingston at the time. The name of the village of Kingston was later changed to Conway Borough for General Robert Conway, a general in the South Carolina State Militia. The village of Kingston was slow to grow. Methodist Bishop Francis Asbury recorded in 1801 that the town had a population of about 100. Thomas Lockwood's Geography of the State, published in 1832, reported that the number of inhabitants was 200. In 1860, Conway Borough had a population of 273 whites and 203 blacks. The Waccamaw River was the town's main transportation link. Planters who developed plantations, both large and small, owned much of the land along the Waccamaw and Pee rivers. Throughout the rest of the county were small farms, plantations, and forests. The important industry in the area in 1860 was naval stores. For example, turpentine and lumber. When South Carolina seceded from the Union, area residents rallied to the Confederate cause. Thomas W. Beatty and Benjamin E. Sessions of Conway Borough signed the Ordinance of Secession in Charleston. At the end of the war, Union soldiers from Maine occupied the town for a time. During the 1870s, the naval store industries continued to expand. Riverboats transported passengers and goods along the Waccamaw River between Conway Borough and Georgetown. The South Carolina General Assembly shortened the town's name to Conway in 1883. In 1887, the railroad reached Conway, and in 1898, the town incorporated and elected its first mayor. Much of present-day downtown was built in the early 1900s following a destructive fire. The old live oak trees and the beautiful Waccamaw River provide the perfect setting for South Carolina's historic river town.
I'm Mayor Alice Lawson. I'm the mayor of the city of Conway, and Conway is a historic river town that's not mired in history, but uses history as part of the charm and part of the vision to grow and to become a really dynamic community. And here in Conway, we've been gifted with visionary leaders, past and present, that have seen the attraction of the riverfront as well as the growth that can take place throughout the community. We've got an award-winning riverfront park along the wonderful Waccamaw River. We have an award-winning recreation complex that all ages of our community use on a daily basis. And we think these are really positive draws for visitors and our citizens alike. School children enjoy many of these activities, as well as the school children's grandparents. And for decades, we've had families that have been here and been active parts of our community and volunteering in great programs. And really, the community is what makes Conway so strong. It's not the historic buildings, while they're a wonderful thing to have and to tout. We really think our community members are the important part, whether they're volunteering at the Theater of the Republic, or they're volunteering for Create Conway to bring artisans to the area, or being active in our schools so that we have award-winning schools here in Conway so that families feel like they can locate here and live and work and raise their families. And we also have the Downtown Alive program that has created a revitalized downtown district that is talked about throughout the state. So really the active community members and the leadership and the shop owners even that come into these communities and are willing to give their life's work to provide services here in the Conway community adds such a dynamic aspect to our community. We have wonderful little art shops, and we have gift shops and clothing shops, and the list is endless. We have wonderful restaurants, and we feel like all these things help to provide for our residents, but they also are a tremendous draw for the tourists to come in and really enjoy the fact that we've got such history and charm, and the environmental aspect of Conway. You just can't say enough about that. We have the Federal Wildlife Preserve Cox Ferry Lake within our city limits, and that truly sets us apart, not just in Horry County or the state of South Carolina, but in the country, to have a wildlife preserve federally managed here in your city limits. The educational opportunities, the tourist application of that, we just feel like the ecotourism piece really speaks to our heart and soul, and we're delighted to have so many conservation lands that have been put in the city's name here in Conway. We're totally surrounded by green space that will be preserved for generations to come, and I don't think you can imagine the difference that can make in perhaps my great-grandchildren's lives. It's really a tremendous effort to preserve what we inherited for the next generations, and it's just I can't say enough about the Conway community, our people here and our attractions here, and just the wonderful, wonderful things that you can do every day, whether you're walking around our historic neighborhoods or looking at the live oaks that are in the middle of the road, go along the Waccamaw River, shop, dine, just enjoy yourself, and know that Conway is just a tremendous place, and we feel like it is an economic powerhouse. We're really excited about having a brand new business incubator here in Conway that is an innovative way to have industry born here in your community and to stay here in the community. So perhaps the children that go to Conway High School and perhaps graduate from Horry Georgetown Technical School in the city limits, or Coastal Carolina University, can get high-paying jobs here so that they too can come back to their hometown rather than having to locate elsewhere. It's just, as I say, a thriving, dynamic, exciting community, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Hello, I'm Nora Battle, and I'm lucky enough to call Conway, South Carolina my home. My family lives and works in one of the oldest towns in the United States of America. This picturesque river town is rich in history and character and offers plenty to keep both its residents and visitors happy. The wonderful dining, the downtown shopping, and outdoor recreation are just some of what makes this town so special. The scenic downtown Riverwalk is a favorite among both locals and visitors alike. Whether you're going for a morning run or an afternoon stroll, or taking photos of the beautiful Waccamaw River, it's easy to spend hours right here on this boardwalk. One of the only things older than Conway are some of the town's historic oaks. And Conway is proud of its trees, so much so that they have built the roads around these majestic landmarks. churches in Conway play an important role, not just on the spiritual front, but also on the historical side. Many of the churches here in Conway serve not only as houses of worship, but also as historical landmarks. And a good example of that is Kingston Presbyterian Church. While the Presbyterian congregation formed here in Kingston Village in 1756, the actual structure you see behind me wasn't opened until 1858. We're here at First Baptist Church on Elm Street in downtown Conway, yet another church whose congregation dates back to well over a century. This beautiful brick church is also home to some of the town's historic oaks.
Hi, I'm Gary Lee, and you are in the Mason Temple Church of God in Christ, where my father has been the pastor for the last 30 plus years, and my mother is a retired English teacher who started out at Coastal Carolina University and then graduated, finished her teaching career at Woodham Park Middle School. I have a strong sense of family from both of them, and honestly, that's why I love Conway. The entire city of Conway gives you the strong sense of family that everyone wants to feel a part of. From being taught by your neighbors to spending money in the stores owned by people who go to the same church as you, and knowing the children of principals. Honestly, to the current day, I was going to the Chamber of Commerce on last week, and Miss Moses, who taught me mathematics in 8th grade, she was there. And when she saw me, she embraced me, and she gave me this strong sense of family that I long for all the time. Matter of fact, she told me how proud she was of me. And hearing how proud someone who's known you your whole life, it makes you feel incredible. I want my children to experience that same sense of family that I did, I enjoyed. And that's why I got married here in Conway, South Carolina, and I'm rearing my children here in Conway. Why do I love Conway? The people. I love the lake, I love the rivers, I love the history, I love the businesses, but I cannot find the people of Conway anywhere else in the world.
I'm George Goldfinch, President and CEO of Goldfinch Funeral Home. And I have my son Hayes Goldfinch and my daughter Megan Goldfinch Hayden, which is 5th generation funeral directors with Goldfinch Funeral Home. In 1905, Goldfinch Funeral Home was started along with Kingston Furniture Company downtown on Main Street, and it's where Amanda's Collections is right now. My grandfather and great-grandfather saw the need at that time to have a funeral service in conjunction with the furniture store. But we remained on Main Street for many years in the furniture business, and then my grandfather saw the need in 1938 to move the funeral home up on Beatty Street, and it allowed them to have a funeral home and separate it from the furniture store. We were in the furniture business, but also in the ambulance service business because there was no ambulance service. So we would use our hearses and funeral cars to be in the ambulance service, and we were in the ambulance service until 1967, I believe it was.
It has become quite an interesting place to work because you never know from one day to another who you're going to see, who you're going to meet, and with the fact that we have been around so long and our family's been around so long, everybody in the community knows who we are and knows who you are, and you may be walking down the street and you have no idea who the person coming at you is, but they call your name, you end up talking about your grandparents, and you know, you bring back a whole life's history that you may not know they were holding you as a baby at the funeral home, or they might have just been very good friends with your grandparents and you learn things about them you may have never known. So Conway is just a wonderful place to be and work in and be around and just spend day to day walking on the streets and enjoying the people.
We don't know everybody that knows us, and some of it's because we're on a commercial or this and that, but you see the resemblance here, you see all that resemblance right in here, all that resemblance that we have, you can go to the chamber wall and see the photograph of my granddaddy, and he looks just like me, or I look just like him. I think that's really the way you're supposed to say that, right? And when you look at that and see, and they go, you're George's daughter, right? Tell boy, you look just like him. They don't know me, but they know him. They know him. And then they say, well, that's his daughter because I look just like him. And that's that Conway atmosphere, the Conway atmosphere that we love and we grew up in, and that you can't find that anywhere else. And that's why we love Conway.
It makes you feel at home because you feel like you can go anywhere and have friends because everybody knows who you are by your family history, and it just makes the world of difference when you go anywhere trying to talk to people, do business. You always can have a common ground with somebody in Conway because they knew somebody in your family or know you.
So as the young people of Conway, we thank Conway for being such a great place to live.
Welcome to the Conway National Bank, a mainstay of the Conway community and the county of Erie. Our mission statement states that we are dedicated to strong corporate citizenship and community service, and that's the way it's been since 1903. Our founding president, Robert Scarborough, just a few years earlier, was founding president of the Businessmen's League, forerunner of the Chamber of Commerce, that was organized by local merchants and professionals for the building up of Conway and the betterment of its citizens. Robert Scarborough was a very respected businessman who also represented us in Congress. In 1902, when he wanted to take a little vacation to come back to his beloved city, he brought Will Freeman, his secretary, with him. Will Freeman strolled down to the banks of the beautiful Waccamaw River, saw some fishermen unloading a boatload of humongous largemouth bass, tried the fishing himself, and told his boss, "I'm not going back to Washington. I'm staying in Conway." So Scarborough said, "Well, let's start a bank." And so on June 5th, 1903, the doors of the Bank of Erie, which nationalized as the Conway National Bank just 11 years later in 1914, and this magnificent vault were opened. Will Freeman in 1920 took over the helm as president and guided us actually for 29 years. Guided us through World War I, through the Great Depression, and World War II. Always with us being safe, sound, and secure. In fact, when President Roosevelt declared a banking holiday in 1933, requiring all banks to be closed, this vault remained open, as well as the huge Depot safe in the back, to show our local merchants and customers that all was well. That's the way it was then, and that's the way it is now. Local businesses and professionals working together to make Conway the place where one would want to live and raise their family. We at the Conway National Bank remain dedicated to do our part as our forefathers, and again as our mission statement states, by remaining a strong, independent community bank.
L.W. Paul Living History Farm is another great stop here in Conway, South Carolina.
I'm Wayne Skipper, the manager here at the L.W. Paul Living History Farm. We're at 2279 Harris Shortcut Road. Conway. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The farm is a very unique place. It's a place where you can see how a family would have farmed in our time period of 1900 to 1955, which is a very important part of the history of O'Ree County. Approximately 100 years, tobacco was the leading industry in this county, and small farmers were able to grow a small acreage of tobacco and live pretty well, and help develop the county as we know it today. You can see many things if you visit the farm on a daily basis. We have livestock here, the basic livestock they would have had on a family farm, which includes a mule as a draft animal, a dairy cow to provide milk and butter for the family farm. Of course, we have chickens that would produce eggs, and we have pigs. These have been the four basic animals we've been on every farm in O'Ree County. We also have some buildings on the farm that we consider community buildings. We make sugarcane syrup from sugarcane here on the farm. We have a grits mill where we grind corn into grits and cornmeal. We have a blacksmith shop along with a wood shopper under the same roof. We also have a ground sawmill which has a circular blade. And then the farm within itself, we have a tobacco curing barn. We have approximately 8 to 10 acres of tillable land where we plant the crops that would have been planted during the time period on the small farm, including a vegetable garden, anything you can grow in a garden here in O'Ree County. And then we grow a little tobacco strictly for demonstrations and a little cotton for demonstrations. We grow a good bit of corn, try to feed the livestock as much as we can from here on the farm. Also watermelons and peanuts and things that they would have grew on a small farm like this to produce food for their own self and for the animals. We also have a smokehouse. We have a pack house or a barn where the animals are kept, some of the animals along with some of the things we produce. We also have the farmhouse where we do some demonstrations of domestic farm life, cooking on a wood stove, making light soap in the farmyard, maybe showing how to wash clothes. And then we also have a true community building, which is a church. The only building we have on the farm is a replica of a building in the county. And on special events, we have music, traditional music of the time period in there, and you're able to hear some live music on the farm on certain days. But coming out on a daily basis, we will be doing what a farmer would have been doing during that time period according to the time of year it is, where it's plowing with the mules, where it is hoeing in the garden or planting crops or even cutting wood, because we use wood here for cooking and for many other things is what the fuel will have been for commonly to be used on a farm. It's a very nice place to visit. Always check the weather when you come because it is outdoors, and we want you to be able to enjoy it when you do come. And just to come one time, you always want to come back to the L.W. Paul Living History Farm.
One of our seasonal events beginning in January is Old Smokehouse Day, which is food preservation and making sausage and running the smokehouse. In April, we've got planting our tobacco and plowing with the horses and mules. And then in August, we're putting in tobacco. We're gathering our tobacco and putting in a barn of tobacco. And then in November, we're making cane syrup. These events are free to the public. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5.
Hello, I'm Hillary Winburn, and I'm here at the Horry County Museum Living History Farm, the L.W. Paul Living History Farm, making some homemade biscuits here on our wood stove in our farmhouse.
Take a couple of these singles and put them together and fly them together, it makes the yarn. And you can tell with this one or with this one.
In a unit that had some mules even then, and he said they would go into some rough terrain, like ditches that were dug and stuff like that.
We're here at the Conway Recreation Center. Let's go inside. This 60,000 square foot membership facility offers everything from indoor basketball courts to an indoor track, a swimming pool, gymnasium, cardio room, and over 75 fitness classes for its members.
Well, I'm Captain Jim, and I've got a tour boat operation here in Conway, South Carolina, that I've had for about 8 years. And I do tours on the Waccamaw River. And the tour runs about an hour and a half, and I kind of do the tour in 3 stages. I start out the tour giving a narration, telling people about the Waccamaw River, this beautiful river we have that runs by our town. And it begins up in, the river begins up in southeastern North Carolina, empties into Winyah Bay down at Georgetown, South Carolina. So I talk a lot about the river, orienting people to the river. And then as I go further up towards downtown Conway area on the river, then the tour heavily goes into history. And I get into the history of the areas, and I show some things of historic interest like the old steamboat warehouse, and I show photographs of the old steamboats that ran this river back in the late 1800s and the early part of the 1900s. The old warehouse is still there, so you get to see that. And then I go up into a creek and where some of the older homes in Conway are located at. And I show 7 houses, 3 of which are on the National Register of Historic Places. And some of the folks going back in the 1800s who owned those homes are truly some of the influential and important citizens of our town. And once I finish doing that, then we go downriver for about a 25-minute boat ride, and we eventually end up in the swamp, where I talk about cypress trees and the rest of the swamp, and different kind of animals walk in these swamps, like the white-tailed deer and black bears and wildcats, and I talk about the snakes and the alligators, and we have all those things here. And I've gotten some photographs I've taken through the years, and I share those on the tour, and then sometimes we do see those things on the tour. But it's an hour and a half tour. I've had a blast doing it. I'll still do, and hopefully I'll keep this going for many more years.
While you're in Conway, why don't you stop by the Riverwalk, maybe take a relaxing stroll down the Riverwalk, and maybe even take a paddle down the Waccamaw in a kayak, just to see some of the beautiful scenery that you'll find on the relaxing waters of the Blackwater.
Another great attraction for both locals and visitors is the Horry County Museum. The museum is housed in a historic building that once served as Conway's elementary school. Let's head inside and check out some of the exhibits.
Hi, I'm Walter Hill, Director of the Horry County Museum. We welcome you to come down to the museum and visit us at 805 Main Street. We're open from 9 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, free to the public. We've got exhibits in here that focus on all points Horry County: natural history, photographic history, military history, tourism and industry, as well as Myrtle Beach area. We welcome you to come out and see our events and programs on Saturday afternoons. And don't forget to check out our Animal Planet's Tanked Tanks. Our freshwater aquarium was built by Animal Planet's television show Tanked, and we invite you to come in and see it for yourself.
I found in you, no matter what they say, I'm gonna find a way to be with you. Take me to the place of your sweet love. Do you realize what
The museum galleries feature everything from Horry County's natural history to its Native American history, military history, agriculture and industry, and so much more. Includes the exhibits that cover all of Horry County, including the history of the Grand Strand.
Hello, I'm Alice Nelson, Marketing and Special Events Director for the Conway Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a lifelong resident of Conway. I'm here today to talk about our special events here at the Chamber, most specifically the River Fest, which is our largest event and is over 30 years old. What we do is we start that day at about 11 a.m. with a business expo and artisan market featuring local businesses and different vendors. We have food and fun. We also have a kids zone with lots of kids rides and kids bouncy slides and some local entertainment. That night we move to the Riverfront Park where we also have fireworks and lots of nighttime entertainment and food and fun and all sorts of things to do. So we hope you'll come out and join us.
Hey y'all, I'm Tammy Elvis, the Membership Development Director with the Conway Area Chamber of Commerce. And they asked me to talk about the Conway Christmas Parade, and they couldn't have picked a better person to talk about that. I'm like a kid in a candy store when it comes to parades. I grew up in this town watching the parade and being in the parade, and every year wondering if you're going to be in the parade the next year, and I just love it, so I couldn't not be a part of it as an adult. So working with the chamber and putting that all together and getting everybody lined up, it is organized chaos, and I could not be happier being in the middle of it with all the queens and with all the children and standing on the sides and just they're waiting for Santa Claus, but when you're waving Merry Christmas, you just know that they're just so happy to be there. My husband and I in 1990 opened a bakery on Main Street, the Trestle Bakery and Cafe, and along with my parents, who my father, Wallace Singleton, had a bakery prior to, so he was the donut man in Conway. And I knew as I grew up, there was a bakery on the corner of 3rd and Main, and I grew up going there getting donuts in my daddy's Corvair, and it was such a special event for me to go to do that, and I just wanted a place that people would gather, and when I as an adult, and that became the vision for the Trestle Bakery and Cafe. And in the first week that we were open, Paul Lawson, which is the mayor's son, he was but a little tyke, maybe 4, and he comes up to the counter and he said, "Miss Tammy, I'm so happy you're here." And as he's eating that cream puff, you just know that the wonder and the thrill in that child's eyes was the same wonder and thrill that was in my eyes when I was his age. And so creating that moment, recreating that moment, and knowing that we could sell that business, and my children, I can now take my grandchildren to the Trestle Bakery and Cafe and recreate that same moment for them. It's a lasting memory that you'll never forget. So the Christmas parade and donuts, you just can't live without them.
Assistant Chief Jeremy Carter with Conway Fire Department. I'd like for everyone to know it's our mission of Conway Fire Rescue to provide a high level of life safety, incident stabilization, and property conservation to the citizens and business in the city of Conway. Our goal is to strive to be role models in the community and leaders in our profession, providing service and protection with pride, respect, teamwork, and safety. We're always committed to our values, our mission, and dedicated to our fire service profession.
I'm Sergeant Don Parker of the Conway Police Department, and we're trying to keep the city streets safe by community policing.
Another popular spot is the historic Main Street area, a hot spot for dining, shopping, and going to the theater.
Hi, my name is Kim Hardy. I own Dilly Beans Restaurant and Catering downtown Conway on Laurel Street. I'm originally from Horry County. My family's been here since the 1700s. I grew up in Myrtle Beach. I came over to Conway. I was doing a lot of catering here. Decided to open a restaurant. I've expanded the restaurant since then. We've been here since January of 2013. Conway's a great little town. A lot of fantastic shops, great places to dine. They have a wonderful waterfront. Just the old southern charm. It's almost like a little Mayberry over here. I have American cuisine with a low country flair. One of the specialties I have are the shrimp and grits, also a fantastic chicken salad. Chicken salad is not like anybody else's, and it's served stuffed in a fresh pineapple. I use fresh local flowers on the plates here. So I try to pull in everything I can that's South Carolina grown. We try to use as much of that as we can. Of course, in the winter we have to outsource a little bit, but everything that you have here at the restaurant generally is from this county or from Georgetown County. The farmers market is directly behind Dilly Beans, so I have access to a lot of fresh produce and fresh vegetables. It runs about 6 months out of the year. It's a great little place. It's a great place to have a wedding or any type of event, or to get your vegetables, anything you need. All the people are local out here. We have more than just the produce and the vegetables. All the shops in Conway have something special going on. It's not just me. I just say come on out one afternoon, spend the day. I don't care if you've been here 10 minutes or 100 years, you'd be impressed with what Conway has going on downtown.
Hi, I'm Barbara Crady Whitley here at Crady's Eclectic Cuisine on Main Street in beautiful downtown Conway. It's a historic town, and so we're really happy to be here and to have been a part of Conway for the last number of years. We've been here on this site with the restaurant for over 13 and a half years. So what we do here at the restaurant, we have a wide variety of food. We call ourselves eclectic because we don't steer into one general direction with our food. We pull from a number of sources, and actually many of the food items that we have currently are also Adam's recipes. They're my recipes, and then, as I said, we pull from different sources. So we're extremely happy to be here in Conway. We love it here and hope to be here for many years to come.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Todd. I'm the general manager at Fats Cafe here in Conway, South Carolina. Been in the area about 5 years now. My husband was born and raised in the area, and we absolutely love it. So happy to be here. Fats Cafe was originated in 1988 in Taylor, South Carolina. We are the home of local, fresh Southern cuisine. We use USDA certified Angus beef, fall off the bone baby back ribs, and world famous calabash chicken. We do a lot for our local community here. We sponsor different local charities. We also do pancake breakfast that we hold every single Saturday. Any charity, church, organization that is trying to raise money, a nonprofit organization trying to raise money, we do something called a pancake breakfast. Basically, we supply all the food, we cook it, we have everybody in the community out to have some pancakes and sausage and have a really great time, and all the proceeds go to the charity or organization. We also do a lot with Special Olympics and with our local schools as well.
Hi, my name is Sean Kobus. I am the owner of the Crafty Rooster, which is a craft beer bar in downtown Conway, South Carolina here. And like I said, we pretty much cater to the craft brew community. Also have a full bar of liquor, wine, but usually we have between 100 and 120 different varieties of the best craft beers that we're able to bring into the market. we opened up the Crafty Rooster in 2009 in downtown Conway here. Crafty Rooster, interestingly enough, was a business plan that I wrote with a couple college buddies and for one of our classes, probably back in 2006, 2005. And we got into like some different business opportunities, and I had a couple friends that were working in the restaurant field. I was working in real estate, and we decided one day to just brush off that plan off the shelf and open up the Crafty Rooster. So Crafty Rooster really started out at Coastal Carolina University, where we graduated from, and my partners were all from all over up and down the East Coast, and we just kind of fell in love with downtown Conway, just the old historic charm, and it's kind of the place we envisioned that we wanted to be and where we could live and grow a business.
My name is Blake Lamford, and I'm an extension agent with Clemson University Cooperative Extension, and generally we work with farmers and small producers, small businesses, rural entrepreneurs throughout the state, and in particular here in Conway, where our offices are housed, we work with the Farmers Market program, and we've been doing so since 2008. We started a farmers market under the bridge in Conway.
Hi, I'm Hillary Howard with Conway Downtown Alive, and welcome to Downtown Conway. Our organization was founded in 1986 by a group of individuals that were determined to bring life back into our downtown. And if you take a look around today, they have succeeded. In the 80s, we saw the invention of something that was brand new to us at that time. It was the strip malls, the shopping mall, and people were leaving their downtowns and heading to these new retail opportunities. So these group of local citizens banded together and formed Conway Main Street, USA. Well, fast forward a few decades, in 2011, we reorganized as Conway Downtown Alive. And then in 2012, we worked with the City of Conway to manage operations at the Conway Visitor Center, where our ambassadors greet our daily tourists and our new residents coming to explore the area. Now, our Visitor Center operations, paired with the programs of our organization, lead to the success of our downtown. We offer about 25 promotional events during the year, and these are anything from our Christmas activities to our Conway Ghost Walk that bring people from all around the area to explore downtown Conway. We also offer facade and marketing grants to our downtown business, beautification programs, and education programs, all adding to the flavor of downtown Conway. We like to think that downtown has a little something for everyone, whether you choose to live, work, or play here, meander our Riverwalk, or just explore. Live it, love it. We're downtown Conway, and we are definitely alive.
Hey, I'm Russell Fowler.
And I'm Tracy Pickens.
And we're Southern boys from South Carolina. We are here by choice in Conway, South Carolina. We love this area, and we 26 years ago started the haberdashery in the downtown area of Conway, and about 10 years ago we got the opportunity to build the building here called the Blackwater Market, and we moved the store over to this area, and we've been here ever since.
Hi, I'm Sheila Wahlberg O'Neill. And I'm Stacy Zach. We're the owners of 3rd Avenue Home in downtown Conway, and we have over 50 local artists and antique pickers, and we have a shop downtown. We like to support the local arts, so Stacy and I got together on a jug of sangria, and we opened the shop a little over 3 years ago. We have antiques in the back. We decided to do this because we love Conway. We love it's an artisan's town. I moved to Conway about 10 years ago when the artisans had just gotten out of having an artisan's town. So Sheila and I decided to do this and support local Conway and support the artists and have a shop to display everything in.
Let's sit down to talk with some of our longtime locals.
I'm Wilson Webb. I'm an employee of Palmetto Chevrolet. I first came to Conway in 1948, August, as an employee of GMAC.
Hello, my name is Brian O'Neill. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer and CFO for B3C Fuel Solutions, located here in Conway across from the college.
I'm Henry Cannon. I'm 90 years old and I live in Conway. I was born on a farm 3 miles out of town. My dad ran a dairy farm, which I worked from 7 in the morning till 7 at night.
I'm Robert S. Winfield.
born in Orangeburg County, South Carolina, in a little town called Branchville. I came to Conway the first time in 1941.
I am Ann Winfield, and my birthday is November the 21st, 1923. I was born in Florence, but that was because they had no hospital here in Conway.
My name's Craig Smith, and I grew up here in Conway. I was born in 1952, and when I was in high school, all the high school kids would go to Jerry Cox on Main Street to buy their school clothes. And ironically enough, Myrtle Beach students had to come to Conway to buy their clothes because there wasn't places in Myrtle Beach to buy.
Hi, I'm Bill Marsh. I'm the current president of Palmetto Chevrolet Company. Proud to say that the company's been here for 75 years, downtown Conway. Love my job, and I think one of the things I love the most is the way that the folks around town let us know how much they appreciate everything we do, and we try to let them know how much we appreciate them.
Veronica Davis Gerald. I've been a resident of Conway, South Carolina since about 1940.
God bless. I'm Pastor James Lee from Mason Temple Church of God in Christ here in Conway, South Carolina.
I'm Barbara Blaine Olds, and I'm proud to introduce myself as Conway's child. I was born in 1952 in the old Conway Hospital that was then located at 9th Avenue, the current site of the Conway Public Safety Building.
Oh, and this is all produced at our factory in Conway, South Carolina. We make everything from scratch. We get all the raw components from local suppliers, literally mix everything, bottle it, label it, ship it out the door.
The war was, one time I left at Newport News, Virginia on a troop ship to go overseas, not knowing where I was going. We were in a convoy of 360 ships. The Lord, they told me that it was the largest convoy that ever left the States. We did a good job. It took us 26 days to get to the Gibraltar. That's where we entered the Mediterranean Sea, and 3 torpedo planes, Germans, attacked the convoy and sank 3 ships, which one ship had one whole squadron of personnel on it. We lost 581 men at one time.
I was so fortunate and so very proud that my father, Job Blaine, had been the first black Horry County police officer. I learned through him that even when things don't seem quite fair, we have a responsibility to help make them right.
I said, you better be careful in Conway because you don't know who is related to who. Now, of course, that's changed.
My name is Cynthia Jonelle Charlton Brockington. I was born in Conway, South Carolina, April 29, 1932.
Sam Abrams, lived here all my life. It's a wonderful town, wonderful community, and the best people in the world. And a lot of good memories about Conway. Grew up on the corner of 5th Avenue, Laurel Street, up to the age of 8 years old. And it's a parking lot today.
One of the things that I remember mostly was when I was on the Whittemore Marching Band. We were placed at the end of the parade, every Christmas parade, and we were behind the horses, and a lot of people used to be kind of upset because we had to dodge the output of the horses, if you will. But everybody in town waited for the Whittemore Marching Bulldogs to come through because they knew that it was a marching band of all marching bands.
I love Conway because it's a great place to live. It's a great place for family. It's a great place for ministry. And I've seen God work miracles.
And as I'm still at Palmetto Chevrolet, having been here for 61 years.
Conway is home, and it still is.